It's 5:48. Okay. I finally decided what we're doing. We're doing two things. And I'll start out with what I did over the week, which was mess with this. And last week it was less green. It was less green, and the tree was more dainty.
Oh, it's great.
So, oh, Lynn, you remember the scratch? Yo, you did the first scratches. You did the first scratches.
Yeah, well, I watched your video.
Oh, good. And you saw that Susan joined us last week. That was nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's nice to have old friends come back as well as having new friends. So that's what I did over the week, and I discovered some interesting things. One is that you can paint out pencil.
Oh.
The other is you can paint over it, and that sometimes works. And these are all, sometimes works, sort of works, kind of works, because I felt that my thing was too green last week. I don't know that I like the tree better, but at least it looks more balanced, I think. But there you go. So that's what I did over the week. And what we're going to do this week, we're going to do two things. One is we're going to put a background. I thought to combine cling film and pencils, plastic wrap and pencils. So I have one where I've done the pencil and the scratches.
Oh, nice.
And this is inspired by Sally. Is Sally here? This is inspired by Sally's friend, whose name I do not know.
Lee, he's called Lee.
Lee's bird. I thought to myself, all those nice little white bits, they would be nice as scratches if they were tiny enough. So this is the bird with scratches, and with scratches, especially in the leaves. And then I thought I would do one the other way because, saran wrap has to dry. So I thought I would do one with the background already in and do the scratches and the colored pencil after the background is first, after the background is in. And that way you get to see the whole technique of the combination of saran wrap and colored pencil and scratches, but you get to see it on two different paintings. So that's the idea. And because I'm doing it on two different things, I think I'll do this first. All righty. So to painting. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bird. This is a common firecatcher from Stockholm in Sweden. And I'm going to put in a background with plastic wrap. And I'm going to see what happens here. Here I erased a whole lot of the pencil because I thought that it was too distinct that far back, because on the reference photo it's already a fuzzy focus. Only this is sort of in focus. So here we go. And it's mostly dark green. So I've got red and green, which makes a gray. And maybe I'll add some black if it's not. Maybe I'll add some black after I get it started. And I'm going to cover this over, hopefully. I mean, because there's wax, so we'll see.
Firecrest, Elin.
Firecrest.
Firecrest.
Firecrest. I knew it was fire something.
Yeah, no, I was thinking firecatcher. Never heard of that.
No. Firecrest. And I had looked it up, but I forgot.
Yeah, you were pretty much there.
Yeah. Well, I have it written down someplace.
Yeah, you've got it on your page. That's where you've got it.
Oh, good. And I think I'm going to add some of my lovely yellows. And it was Lee's painting that inspired this. Sally, I don't know whether you were on when I said that.
Yeah, no, I was. Yeah, he's done another one, which I'll also send you, but not right now because that's just another amazing piece.
Yeah.
That's a lion.
A lion.
Mm.
Well, I think animals work really well with this technique because animals are not subtle. Like I said, this is not a subtle technique. Ah, see, it does. There are places where the wax sort of protects the paper. Do you see that? How it's
Yeah.
white here? So one could do that as, you know, as a technique. And I think I'm going to add some black back here. If I can open the box, that is. I'll add black if I can open the box. Good. Welcome, John.
Hi.
You missed the sharing part, so we'll make you share at the end what you did over the week.
All right, nothing to.
You can share a glass of wine instead.
Well, yeah, he does that. He does that really well. So I'm messing into the other part with the paint because I don't want a hard boundary. And if the paint comes off onto the other part, it's okay. So now, Saran wrap. I've developed all kinds of ways of handling Saran wrap so that it doesn't crumple up until I want it to. This one I have it on my sewing machine case. I take it off the roll sitting on my washing machine. So I take it off the roll and make it stick to the washing machine while I cut it. And now I've put it on here. So now we'll see how that comes out. And the other thing is, this one, which I'll go now to the pencil. I think that's going to work. I think I hadn't gone close enough to the owl first time because I didn't want to get him messy. So I did around the owl twice. And I think it kind of works.
So what does the cellophane do?
Well, you see the texture on this one? See the texture in the background?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so what I did basically the same thing and actually using just about the same colors. I didn't use any black in this one. I just used 2 yellows and a green. And I just slobbered them on like I just did. And then I put the plastic wrap on top of it and let it dry. Now it doesn't dry as fast as watercolor normally dries because the plastic wrap keeps it wet, but that's why you get the pattern. And so because here, let's get this reference photo up. Let me get this reference photo up. Just like the fire catcher, Sally. This also had a very fuzzy background. The owl had a very fuzzy background. And actually on my computer, it was more yellow, which is why I went with the yellow. This one's more orange. But I wanted to get that kind of texture where I didn't have to do much, make it easy and do texture. Because this whole bit seems to be about texture. The scratches are texture, and then this is texture. And I wanted to play with something that didn't have to put colored pencil all over the whole piece of paper, because that takes a long time. And especially the doing the wax takes a long time.
So was
yeah.
that owl gooped out, or how did you do
No,
it?
no, I just went around him
Okay.
a little bit carefully.
Okay.
Not even very carefully. And I'm not gonna put much color on him. But I am gonna wet him so that the scratches go into the paper better. Remember we talked about how scratches go better into wet paper than into dry paper? And since the owl in the reference photo is basically black and white, I want the scratches to come out as white. I mean, I could do a very light gray. Why don't I do a very light gray? I'll do a very light gray. I'll do my favorite gray. My nice blue and burnt sienna. So I'm doing the owl. Except for his eyes, which are yellow. And the other thing that I'm going to do scratches on is the branch that he's sitting on. And I think that I'll just do that in burnt sienna without blue. Oh, I've got a hair. It's probably my hair. Okay, sit there by the tape. So I'm going to do the branch in a burnt sienna, and then I'll put brown and black on top of it, and the scratches will show through as burnt sienna. And his claws, and I already decided that before, I'm going to do his claws in the iridescent, in the metallic.
Oh, his eyes too. Yellow, shiny eyes.
Yellow shiny eyes with the metallic. I hadn't thought about that. I could do that. The great thing about this pencil technique is that you don't have to worry about being right with the paint, because you put the pencil on top of it. There we go. A little bit darker. So now this is soppy, but the owl is not. So he's ready for scratches. Where's my scratch kit? Put away the paint. Okay, I'm going to do the outline of his wings and his head bit with the plain credit card. And sort of his major stripes. And his beak. And here's his other wing. And he's got this sort of indentation here. This is a place where doing the sketch is really useful, because you get to know what the thing looks like. Eyes. Oh, here's his eyebrows. Notice I'm using two hands on this side. Somehow, I am at least better at things in one angle than in another. Now, I'm going to use the knife for this part, because those are very small kinds of scratches. And they sort of overlap each other. And the same thing on his head. Just using the tip of the knife. And here. Wherever you see a lot of light, light colors, I want to do small scratches. Okay, do I think that's done? Maybe a little bit around his feet. Okay, so now you're saying iridescent eyes, huh?
Yeah, iridescent yellow eyes.
Okay. She's giving me this hard thing. That's why I have students, right?
Yes, you learn from your students. You learn so much.
That's when the first college course I ever taught out in San Jose, which is where I met Chris. One of my students, the first night of the first class, and of course I'm nervous, and a woman who was around my age, and I was, 40 then, says, "By what right do you get up and teach us?"
Ooh.
And she said it very politely. I mean, that sounds pretty tough, but she said it very politely. And I said, "I assume you're not asking about my degrees." And she said, "Yeah, I'm not." And so I said, "Well, I figure it this way. If I get a lot of smart people in a room and have them read some interesting stuff and come in and talk about it, I'm going to learn a lot." And that was my answer.
That's a good answer. Very good.
And
She'd get up and walk out, or did she say?
no, she didn't.
Yeah.
She didn't. She liked that. Like I said, I don't know that I would have said that to a 20-year-old, but she and I were basically contemporaries. She was a returning student,
Yeah.
as I had been. And returning students are not only smart, they're not only wise, they're wise guys.
Yes. I know. I was one of those returning students too.
I know. And you're a wise guy.
Thank you. That's the best compliment I've had. A rhyme like.
Okay, so now I'm going to make his feet just silver, except it's still got yellow. Yellow on the brush. I've said this before, I think, that since I discovered that you can mix regular watercolor with the iridescent paint, I've totally gone off anything but the white, the pearlized white.
Yeah, me too.
And we could do that with his beak too,
Oh, yeah.
except make it a little bit, well, his beak here looks sort of yellow, but I think I'm going to make it sort of burnt sienna-y. And then I won't put any pencil on his eyes or his beak or his feet. Okay, so this isn't covering. I'm worried about the pencil lines. Well, I may have to come back to that. Oh, I didn't put any scratches in my tree. So while his highness is drying, I don't know, he seems like a very regal owl. Where did I do with my credit card? Well, here's my pinked credit card. So I'll use that. I can use the edge of it. Oh, here it is. It's right here. And maybe a couple little knife bits. Got moss down at the bottom of the tree. So I'll do that. Okay, this is still cold, but this is not anymore. So, I have a tissue. Yeah, there's a tissue. Not going to need that anymore. So now let's see what I can do. I have this whole tray of grays and beiges, well, half a tray. And so I'm going to use them. What do I want to start with? I would like to start with his face, but probably I should start with his wings because they're easier. Okay. Screwed up that. I tried on the Firebird, whose name I've already forgotten, Sally, to iron wax paper onto the pencil to see if that would work. It doesn't work. I thought, you know, if a candle works and if the pusher, the blender pencil, which is a wax pencil, works, maybe what I want is just wax paper with a hot iron. Because we used to do something with wax paper and a hot iron. I think it was leaves. That you take the fall leaves and you sandwich them in between two pieces of wax paper, and then you iron them. And
So
they,
was that to making leaf prints? I'm trying to remember because the leaves will curl as they dry out.
yeah, but you,
And what I did was there was one picture where I went collecting fall leaves and I did like a vortex.
yeah, I think it was something like that.
Right. And yes, I ironed them flat.
Yeah. And so I
I had to
thought,
put the paper on to protect everything. Yep. I'd forgotten about that.
yeah. Well, I remembered it and I thought, well, maybe it will work with this, you know, this wax paper will work
Mhm.
in the same way to,
Mhm.
it doesn't.
Ah. Let's
But,
have a look.
you know,
What were you going to say, Elin, about the ironing the leaves between the two pieces of wax paper?
well, that you can do that and it preserves the leaves.
Oh,
Mhm.
And
A little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
they still lose their color, but it's a great thing to do with little kids because, you know, they look like stained glass. I mean, they don't really look like stained glass, but you do that and you hang them up in a window and they have this feeling of stained glass.
Okay, here's the vortex. I found it. So
Aha.
this was just starting with the brightest, yellowest leaves and then sticking them down on paper and then rotating them till we got to the darkest, slightly browny.
Uh-huh.
But that, yes, I've had to flatten that out with ironing.
Yeah. Iron it between wax paper and if you have a piece of wax paper that's, you know, the size of a window pane or the size of an 8x10 or something like that, and you have leaves in the middle, then it's like you could hang it up in the window and then the leaf is silhouetted in the window. Okay, I think I need to go to a gray. And it looks cool. This is very similar. This is maybe this is too similar. This is too dark. Put some over here because it's got to be symmetrical. But I don't think I want to. How come I guess because the way he's standing. Lighter, 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 lighter. What about the really light gray? Now let's get some more of the darker gray. And he's got little white fluffs. So I think those are gonna have to be painted. Because I don't think white pencil, I have white pencil, but I don't think it's gonna work. This really works nicely with the scratches, this kind of color. Oh, let's see what the white does. Oh, I have a very pale French, sort of beigey. Nah, it's too brown. Notice I say that, but I'm using it anyway. But it sort of disappears. Just to give it a little depth, I guess. Okay, let's see what the white does. Where's the white? Ah. Does it do anything? No, not really. Maybe a little bit. I think when I was a kid, I used to use my white pencil like a blender pencil because it smears the other pencils together. I'd forgotten that until just recently. Okay, he's got some white there. All right. Browns. Mulberry. No, not mulberry. See, that's the thing. You know, the paint on the body of the pencil looks like something you want. And when you actually look at the color, it says mulberry. No. Okay, terracotta. Oh, I forgot my moss. Something dark. Umber. Now some green, dark green. Yet another layer. Green. Oh, that's too bright. Now let's see what the wax does. The nice thing about the candle is that you can do a lot fast.
So what does the candle do?
It does two things. It blends the colors together.
Mhm,
So I've done this red and this dark umber,
mhm.
and so it's become they mix better, or the two grays with the black.
Mm-hmm.
So it has them blend together more. And yes, okay. So he's pretty good.
Ah, that helps.
I think he needs more blending. He may even need some water to blend it more. Because I wanted to preserve some of this stuff, but I think I've got too much, you know. And I will do this with his whites. Is that working? Yeah,
That's what, white paint?
that's white gouache. Yeah. So where else do we have a lot of whites? Right here. And it's sort of fluffy. He's sort of fluffy. And I'll just do the one side. And I think also that I'm going to go over that with the regular blender pencil and not just with the candle. The candle's sort of quick and dirty. There. You get the idea. Now, Chris, would you hand me the one that we did before? The other thing I might do is blend this some with water. This is my new thing. My new thing, painting on top of colored pencil. Okay, so here's the background that we did before. And it may not be completely dry, but if I'm really careful, it will work anyway. Ah, wrong way.
That's beautiful.
That's really nice.
And
I
you
like
all
the
know how to,
combination
yeah.
of textures and everything. That's really cool.
Well, I thought that that would be a cool thing because these bird pictures, the backgrounds are always very fuzzy because you can't focus. And how to convey that without, you know. And besides, like I said, this is not a subtle technique. This is not for subtlety. So,
For the nice and wimpy pastel paint by, watercolors. This is not in that category of the,
no, it is not in that category. It's not in the,
gentle wispy.
right. It's more in the bold and in your face a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe a little modern. Not too modern, but a little modern. So those are the two. This one needs more work. But the pencil part is the hard, sort of the more worky one, the part that you work more on than the background. But so I did this bird this afternoon. I probably took me a good hour half to do the bird. I haven't spent that much time on this owl. But you get the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it matters which one you do first. Because we've discovered, and this is a discovery that's been since this class, is that you can mix these two media in any direction. And I don't know enough how to control it, and neither do you probably, but that's what we're finding out. That as we experiment, we find out how to control it. I mean, I've now got it so that I know that my saran wrap will make lines in a certain direction if I want them to. And that certainly wasn't something that I used to be able to do. It gets pink. The colors get pink. The colors are more like this than like this. I don't know why that is. But there we go. Okay, everyone have a great week.
You too, and thank
Oh,
you.
you too.
too.
Thank you
Bye.
so much, Ela.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Good night.
Bye.